Lockheed Martin is a defense contractor in the U.S. Its aeronautics sector consists of 4 major companies, which together comprise the world's largest provider and supporter of military aircraft. The aeronautics sector is one of the major business sectors within Lockheed Martin operations. In the late 90s, Lockheed Martin launched a program called LM21, or Lockheed Martin in the 21st century, to identify best practices for increasing efficiency and improving financial and operating performance. After introducing Lean principle in its own operations, Lockheed's LM21 took one step further, launching in 1999 a challenge to its major suppliers to implement Lean practices in their own companies. The goal was to improve overall quality and reduce costs and completion times within the supply chain. A group of 245 top suppliers were included in this program. The focus was on how Lean principles can make suppliers more competitive. Engaging suppliers in the Lean philosophy was crucial to Lockheed, since they contribute roughly to half the cost of producing aircraft and play a major role in the total make span from initial contracting to final delivery. In order to implement this program, Lockheed asked each of those suppliers to commit to Lean practices and to work together with Lockheed to develop implementation plans within the next 6 months. The next step was to gather information to establish cost and cycle time reduction goals for each supplier. Those goals were agreed upon with each supplier. Then, Lockheed met with each supplier and asked them to form Kaizen teams, which are groups that will focus on process and product improvement, and a Lean champion, which will be the person in the supplier responsible for Lean implementation. Next, a group of Lockheed facilitators selected critical product families from each supplier and carried out an as-is assessment to describe current processes and information flows within the supplier. The supplier actively participated in this assessment, collecting information and mapping the value stream. Following this as-is assessment, a future state map was developed in each supplier, identifying how the process should look after improvements were introduced. Finally, a continuous improvement culture was introduced within each supplier in order to seek for constantly eliminating non-value adding activities, therefore reducing waste in the supplier. Lockheed offered basic support, but the main responsibility for carrying out this improvement were on the suppliers themselves. Therefore, it was important to get them to commit to the project. This initiative led to mutual benefits, both to Lockheed and to its supplier base, which were able to strengthen their competitive advantages and reduce waste. In this example, we were able to see how a company can work together with its supplier to implement Lean practices throughout the supply chain, especially when the main cost contribution comes from the suppliers. Like in the case of Lockheed, the company can gain much more by extending Lean practices throughout the whole supply chain. Thank you.